The election night energy was booming at the Michelle Wu headquarters in downtown Boston Tuesday night. Supporters gathered at the Cyclorama and the Boston Center for the Arts ahead of what would turn out to be a dominant win for the Wu campaign. Wu carried a 30-point lead into election night, according to the latest Emerson College poll. Final results had Wu with 64.2% of the vote to Anissa Acaibi-George's 35.8%. Former city councilor and mayoral candidate Tito Jackson said that Wu's lead was down to her campaign's efforts at canvassing. Calling Wu a visionary, he praised her plans for a new, progressive Boston.
There are a lot of people in this campaign who just said, hey, let's nibble around the edges and do stuff that we can do. You know what? The city of Boston needs transformation.
A self-described progressive, Wu has built her campaign on a host of liberal policies that she says are a, quote, promise for Boston. Among these policies, Wu has campaigned for greater rent control across the city, a free tea, and of course, a city-wide Green New Deal. Supporters say policies like these are exactly what the city needs.
I think these are visions that are bold, but are plausible.
Like a young person living in Boston to focus on like the climate crisis, and also just like public transportation is a huge facet of the city, so to focus on that was really important.
Wu's victory makes her the first elected female mayor and first elected mayor of color in Boston. Xiaodong Lo came all the way from California to campaign for the mayor-elect and expressed hope that Wu would serve as an example to the Asian community.
And if she can represent Boston and it can invite other women to also step into politics.
In her victory speech, Wu said that voters should not have to choose between big plans and, quote, keeping the streetlights on. She insists that both can be possible under her administration.
What we deserve is a Boston where all of us are seen, heard, treasured, and valued. A Boston for everyone.
Despite the historic nature of the race, the city saw low voter turnout, with only around 28.9% of voters making their way to the polls. Wu said that her campaign's main focus on Election Day was getting as many people out to vote as possible.
We all need to make sure that barriers come down to voting in Boston and across the country. We are still a country where people don't get Election Day off to vote.
After her historic victory, Wu has just 2 weeks before taking office. She said her priority before taking office is building a cabinet that represents all of Boston. In downtown Boston, for BUTV 10, I'm Evan Jimenez.